Is there any other equipment you use? Anything adaptive to help pull the trigger, or are you able to do that
So
independently?
So there's a really cool story behind that. So I'm sure we'll talk about it here in just a minute because we're on the subject of hunting. But this turkey I just recently killed was the first animal that I've taken by pulling the trigger myself. I usually use when I kill some of my other animals, I've used things like the blow straw and the button push. But and the first deer I killed this year, my buddy, I was real nervous because we started. This was gonna be my first wild deer in Texas, and so I was shaking a lot, jumpy, real. I don't know how you would say it, anxious. So he took a piece of wire and wrapped it around the stick, and we made sort of a hook to put on the trigger so I could pull. But yeah, the turkey was the first one that I took with my finger, so it was
Man,
real.
that,
That was
that's aw-
awesome.
that's awesome, Colin. One of the great things every week when we get to talk with people is hearing the excitement in your voice about your first deer and pulling the trigger. And you and your buddy obviously have a good relationship. You were figuring out exactly how to do it. Mike and I both use the sip and puff triggers from Be
Yeah,
Adaptive, and that's really increased my accuracy so much because I can't feel my hands. And whenever I was using other crank triggers and other ways to pull the trigger, I'd have to look at my hands and then look through the scope and kind of go back and forth. But with the sip and puff trigger, I can just suck on the straw and it goes off exactly whenever I want it to. And
uh,
you
and
know, makes a
and
big
I
difference,
and
huh?
I, I'm gonna leave with that one. So when I shot my first deer ever, which was on the range, that's what I used, and I kind of got spoiled by that because it was so easy, and then going from that to like a button or the little lever, that was a big adjustment for me, especially out in the field, you
Ab-
know.
Absolutely. And when you're talking about accuracy, I just don't think you can beat the sip and puff. And it's like you said, it's almost too easy. You don't have to worry about how you're going to pull the trigger.